Federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, or exhibit portions of copyrighted motion pictures, videotapes, or video discs under certain circumstances without authorization of the copyright holder. This infringement of copyright is called fair use, and is allowed for purposes of criticism, news, reporting, teaching, and parody. This means you! Let's talk about star power. This is something nobody ever brings up when reviewing animated TV. Occasionally people will bring up the names, but they'll never explain why the names mean anything. So today I'll bring up a show with amazing star power and explain why this is as disappointing as it is. So, I don't know how many of you pay attention to stand-up comedy, but if you do even a little bit, the names Jeff Foxworthy, Bill Engvall, and Daniel Whitney should be of relevance to you. Okay, you may know Daniel Whitney more as the name Larry the Cable Guy, but nevertheless, these are names of some of the biggest names in comedy, being that they're all tremendously successful, selling metric fuck tons of comedy CDs, and each being the names of the most well-known comedy tour ever, minus one Ron White. We also have another big name in comedy, Lisa Lampanelli, who is known for her insult comedy at audience members, celebrities, and even herself, which she'll not be able to do very much longer. So yeah, we have some great star-studded casts, so from there I can explain why a big cast of names won't always work. So this is Bounty Hunters, a show where three rednecks search for a fugitive of the week and take them down. The show aired on the Country Music Television in 2013 and was owned by Viacom. So up go the fair use curtains to see if we can Viacom-proof this review, because I had no idea this was Viacom-owned prior to scripting. So it's a good time to test. So the episode starts with Bill, Larry, and Jeff talking about advertising their company, and after showing the billboard, Larry and Bill get angry at Jeff for how small and insignificant they are, kinda like in real life. Then their girlfriends, or wives, I don't know, pull up and distract them from the plot before explaining plot B. And by the way, I'll be skipping this plot because it's the most boring drool ever. Nothing against Lisa Lampanelli, I in fact enjoy her brand of comedy. However, this show really stunts what she does, at least in the 5 episodes I've watched. We also get our villain, Beaumont Baudreau, and with a name like that, of course, Larry says this Frenchman may surrender. Did I pick a bad time to do this review or what? Lisa explains Beaumont is an environmentalist who lives in a swamp and has been making a gumbo, however, has been shoplifting everything he needs. Rednecks, everybody. Then they get the bright idea to go to Bulk Mart to find the shoplifter because the one thing he's missing is a sausage. We then get a joke about a naked redneck parent at the store before they go on to the culprit, who does show up and begins a chase scene where Beaumont gets away stealing the car of a woman. This becomes important very soon. But of course, not until we get a scene of a redneck stereotypes that I'm going to skip, and a scene where they arrive in the swamp. Beaumont goes on foot to get away from the three, and Larry, Bill, and Jeff spy a baby in the van he stole. Jeff tells Bill to take the baby to its mother, and Bill crashes the truck. Jeff then calls the tow truck service, which goes nowhere, and at this point I'm bored out of my mind. Jeff then makes a policy where he gets all the shots, and gets to take care of the baby for a bit. They then cheer up the crying baby and go after Beaumont with the baby. And Jeff explains his trust issues with Larry and Bill. They then go on and Bill gets trapped in a trap, which causes Jeff to trick Larry into a trap. Beaumont then comes back to check on his traps, and Jeff comes out with a gun. But Beaumont puts up a fight and starts kicking Jeff's ass while Bill and Larry watch, entertained. Jeff finally cuffs him triumphantly, and then the baby gets taken by an eagle, because we needed to pad out this episode more, and we need some kind of trust moral. Jeff goes up and tries to get the baby, and while Beaumont tries to pick the lock, if you see where this is going, congratulations, you can see contrived conclusions coming from a mile away. Bill and Larry put the bunny hat on Jeff to use as bait, and it works, and they get the baby down, and Beaumont breaks free. Hooray! But then gets caught in his own trap due to an eagle chasing him, and because he had the scent of sausage. What a piece of shit this really is. I could have gone into the little details, but to be honest, this is exactly what you expect from the word go. And with such big names of comedy like Foxworthy, Lampanelli, Engvall, and Larry the Cable Guy, you'd expect the show to actually be pretty funny. But throughout this episode, they picked only from the low-hanging fruits, and there is none left for the rest of us. I can't even make snarky remarks about this show. It's what would happen if you took the Jeff Foxworthy Show, Bill Engvall Show, and Larry the Cable Guy and put them into a blender, add Brickleberry's art style, and put it on a station exclusively for rednecks who enjoy Dog the Bounty Hunter, My Big Redneck Wedding, Country Fried Home Videos, and even Redneck Island, which are not shows I made up. These all existed on the same network. The pacing of the story is awful, where they introduce a problem to immediately solve it, must force a moral of trust in there to please themselves instead of, letting it nonchalantly waltz into the story because they wrote themselves into a corner with Jeff's ego staying stroked until out of nowhere one plan doesn't work and he feels he was wrong. This misses every chance he can get for Bill and Larry to show him up and prove he was wrong, that they're useless, instead of stringing them into a trap hung up to dry. And then there's the oh so worthless and distracting plot B, which I ignored up to this point because that's all it was. It was all just a bachelor party gone wrong because one of the two characters, who are played by people I've never heard of, got so pissed drunk that they had a strip dance in a bar. It only serves for padding to try to make this episode reach the 22-minute mark, as there is absolutely nothing it adds to the episode unless you get off on the idea of a Brickleberry redneck Asian girl stripping. And then again, with the Toby Keith audience being the main audience for the show, I wouldn't be surprised. This show is unfunny redneck stereotype after unfunny redneck stereotype with barely any story holding it together, and instead a bunch of fluff in between important plot points. Hell, they even go out of their way to force the trio in to drive a run-down gray pickup truck. Just anything at all to make sure you know these three people you are watching are the biggest rednecks in existence, instead of using their star power to your advantage, and actually assign roles to the characters that aren't their real names and stage personalities. Your star power fails you, bounty hunters. Just wanted to let you know. If you would like to get caught up on future reviews, there's a link in the description below to a Facebook page. Basically, all that I'm going to tell you. I mean, you can follow it. You can get all the updates to future reviews if you care. If not, I'm not going to force you to do it. It's all up to you.